Imagine giving a decade of your life to a company, just, completely pouring yourself into it.
Oh, yeah. Like making it your entire world.
Exactly. I want you to really picture the granular reality of that. You are working in this worn-out office with failing computers, and you're effectively carrying the operational weight of a struggling business, like entirely on your back.
It's exhausting just thinking about it.
Right. You skip your hard-earned vacations, you miss major life events, like your own sister's wedding.
Wow.
Yeah. And you even find yourself taking international conference calls, sitting right beside your mother's hospital bed during her battle with cancer.
That is just, I mean, that's a level of sacrifice most people wouldn't even consider.
But you tolerate this brutal lifestyle for one simple reason. The CEO has repeatedly promised you that your immense loyalty is going to be rewarded with a senior partnership.
The big payoff.
The big payoff, yeah. And then the day of your long-awaited promotion finally arrives. You're sitting in the boardroom, the slide clicks over on the projector, and the name glowing on the screen isn't yours.
Oh, no.
It belongs to the CEO's 23-year-old daughter,
Unbelievable.
who has, by the way, zero industry experience.
Yeah, it is the ultimate corporate nightmare. It's that visceral punch to the gut where you realize the future you sacrificed your present for was, well, it was nothing but a mirage.
Literally just empty providence.
Exactly. You've been operating under the assumption that merit and structural value actually matter. And suddenly you are confronted with the reality that leadership views you not as a leader, but as this invisible, highly convenient utility.
And that is exactly the mission of our deep dive today. We are looking at a first-hand account from a woman named Natalie Parker.
Right.
And she experienced this exact crushing corporate betrayal at a mid-sized logistics firm called Carter Maritime Solutions.
Which is just a fascinating case study.
It really is. But this isn't just a dramatic story about getting passed over for a promotion. It is a masterclass in reading the fine print. Understanding organizational vulnerabilities and really discovering the hidden leverage of the quote-unquote invisible worker.
It's about what it truly means to know your worth in a system that is literally designed to extract it from you.
Okay, let's unpack this, because Natalie's 9 years of sacrifice are almost hard to comprehend in today's working environment.
They really are. I mean, especially when you look at the baseline state of the company when she first joined.
Oh, it was a mess, right?
A total mess. When Natalie started as an operations director, Carter Maritime Solutions was barely surviving. I mean, we're talking constant financial pressure, client attrition, super outdated technology.
It's a sinking ship.
Basically, yeah. And the CEO, Richard Carter, he basically made a verbal contract with her. He said, build this business, modernize our systems, stay strictly loyal, and we will become partners.
And the sources show she absolutely delivered on that. I mean, she didn't just do her job. She redesigned their entire global shipping network.
Which is a massive undertaking.
Huge. She negotiated high-stakes contracts across multiple continents. She handled every single client emergency. The sources say her phone literally never stopped ringing.
I can imagine.
But it's the personal toll that really stands out to me. Missing a sibling's wedding to handle a customs dispute, taking calls while your mother is undergoing cancer treatment. You only do that if you implicitly trust the structural integrity of the person making those future promises.
Well, and what's fascinating here is the psychology of what organizational behaviorists call future promises.
Oh, right.
Yeah, Richard Carter weaponized this vague promise of a future partnership just to extract endless uncompensated labor in the present.
Wow.
He operated under the assumption that Natalie's loyalty was like an unconditional, permanent resource. And this is an incredibly common trap in corporate dynamics.
Because they just keep dangling the carrot.
Exactly. Leaders will offer heavy praise in private, which Richard did, right? He was constantly reassuring her the promotion was just a matter of time.
Just to keep her on the hook.
Yep, to keep the employee on the hook. It gives them the illusion of momentum without the leader having to actually surrender any real power or title or equity.
Which brings us to the harsh reality check of that boardroom meeting. So Natalie is fully expecting to be named Senior VP of Operations. Instead, Richard gives the title to Emily, his 23-year-old daughter.
Right.
Emily has never managed a complex shipping route. She's never solved a global supply chain crisis. She is completely untested.
Dually green.
But Richard pulls Natalie into his office afterward and attempts to justify the decision. He tells her that she is the dependable engine hidden beneath the surface.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. While Emily is going to be the public face of the modern company.
That is just Wild.
It gets worse. Natalie's new unofficial job is to train Emily, fix her inevitable mistakes, and essentially make her look brilliant to the board.
See, notice what Richard is doing there. He isn't just denying her the promotion. He's attempting to fundamentally recategorize her professional identity.
Yeah, putting her in her place almost.
Exactly. He is telling her that her highest possible value is to serve as a ghostwriter for his daughter's success. And he genuinely expects her to absorb this humiliation as a compliment to her, dependable nature.
Because he's just that oblivious.
He is so disconnected from how real operational talent actually views itself.
Well, the disconnect gets even more glaring. Right after this conversation, Emily literally walks into the office, drops a stack of folders on Natalie's lap, and tells her to process the invoices for the flowers and catering.
Oh my God.
For her own promotion celebration.
You've got to be kidding me.
No. She actually tells Natalie that administrative work suited her skills better.
That is infuriating.
It's like spending a decade building a massive estate with your bare hands, pouring the foundation, framing the walls, only for the owner to hand the keys to a teenager and then casually ask you to go unclog the gutters.
That's a perfect analogy, but this is the pivot point, really. This is where the source material transitions from a standard professional grievance into a strategic clinic.
Right. She doesn't just get mad.
No. When you are hit with that level of systemic disrespect, the natural human instinct is emotional retaliation. You want to scream, flip a desk, or just quit on the spot.
I think I would have flipped a desk.
Most people would have. But Natalie overrides that instinct with analytical precision. She doesn't argue. She smiles, takes the folders, and goes home. And then she audits her own value.
Yes. She goes straight to her filing cabinet, pulls out her 9-year-old employment contract, and starts reading the fine print.
Looking for loopholes.
She's no longer looking for validation from Richard. She's looking for leverage. And the audit reveals 2 massive structural vulnerabilities for the company.
This is the best part.
First, her intellectual property. Years ago, the company's legacy systems couldn't handle the advanced logistics platform she had designed. So she just hosted the core processing network on her own personal secure cloud servers.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, you really have to understand how common this is in older companies that are transitioning to digital.
Really, it happens a lot.
Oh, yeah. It's a phenomenon called shadow IT.
Shadow IT.
Yeah. Operational staff often build bespoke solutions outside the official IT framework just to keep the company functioning, usually because the official channels are too slow or underfunded.
So they just do it themselves.
Exactly. Because Richard never modernized the infrastructure, Natalie had to do it herself just to survive the workload.
Wait, I have to push back here. How does a CEO just forget that one employee legally owns the software running their entire global operation? I mean, why didn't their legal or IT department flag this and force her to sign it over?
Well, this raises an important question about the blind spots of arrogant leadership. You have to look at her original 9-year-old employment contract.
Okay, the one from when the company was struggling.
Right. Natalie was hired as an operations director, not a software engineer. Therefore, her standard contract likely lacked those aggressive intellectual property assignment clauses that modern tech workers sign.
Oh, that makes sense.
She built the system on her own time, on her own servers, totally outside the scope of her original job description. And because Richard was entirely detached from the operational mechanics of his own empire, he just never questioned how the magic trick was done.
He just assumed the company owned it.
He assumed the company owned the software by default. Legally, they didn't. It was never formally licensed or transferred to Carter Maritime.
That is a staggering oversight.
Yeah.
And it leads right into her second discovery, which is honestly, arguably even more damaging.
Oh, absolutely.
3 of Carter Maritime's largest international clients, who, by the way, together generated roughly 75% of the company's entire revenue stream. They had key personnel clauses baked into their massive service contracts.
Yeah, 75%. That's the whole company.
Basically.
And in high-stakes industries like maritime logistics, clients aren't buying your corporate logo. They are buying risk management.
They want a sure thing.
Right. They knew Natalie was the only reason their supply chains functioned flawlessly. So their legal departments demanded that she personally oversee their operations.
Wow. So it was in writing.
In writing. If Carter Maritime ever removed her from their accounts, or if she left, those clients retain the legal right to terminate their multi-million-dollar agreements with 0 penalty.
So Natalie is sitting at her kitchen table, realizing She is the load-bearing wall of the entire organization.
The whole thing rests on her.
Armed with this knowledge, she just goes back to work and quietly watches Emily take over. And Emily, predictably, doesn't consult experienced managers. She leads using trendy business phrases.
Typical.
And this management style brings us to the catalyst for the ultimate collapse. Emily decides she needs a major, highly visible cost-cutting win to impress the board. So she targets a highly temperature-sensitive, multi-million-dollar pharmaceutical shipment.
She literally just looks at a spreadsheet and decides to reroute this critical shipment through a significantly cheaper shipping port.
Just to save a few bucks.
Yeah, completely ignoring the systemic risks involved in that specific location.
Because that cheaper port is currently suffering from severe labor strikes and massive, weeks-long congestion.
Which a logistics expert would know.
Right. So Natalie pulls up the live maritime tracking data, the container backlog, the estimated delays. She goes into a meeting and calmly explains to the room that if this highly sensitive shipment gets trapped in a congested port, the refrigeration units will eventually lose external power.
It's just math.
Yeah, the medicine will be destroyed, and they will face catastrophic liability.
And she presents hard, objective data to prove this. But because Emily views leadership as, like, a branding exercise rather than actual operational risk management, she just dismisses it.
Emily actually laughs at her.
Wow.
She tells Natalie that her reliance on data belongs to an older generation of thinking and that modern executives make bold decisions.
Bold decisions.
And Richard just sits there, nodding approvingly at his daughter's corporate buzzwords. And then, feeling challenged, Emily makes her fatal mistake.
This is the turning point.
As retaliation for Natalie questioning her authority, Emily publicly revokes Natalie's system admin privileges. She downgrades her to read-only access.
Which is bad enough.
But more importantly, she cancels Natalie's earned quarterly performance bonus, claiming she needs those funds to build out her new executive branding team.
An executive branding team in a logistics firm? I mean, the irony is heavy. But we really need to pause on that canceled bonus.
Why?
Because legally, this is the exact mechanism that unravels everything.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
Right.
Wait, stop there, though. Canceling a bonus sounds incredibly petty and obviously terrible management. But how does denying a discretionary bonus suddenly void a rock-solid non-compete clause? I thought those things were ironclad.
Well, that's actually a really common misconception. Let's use an analogy.
Okay.
Think of an employment contract, like a live electrical circuit. The non-compete clause is a locked electronic door that's keeping the employee inside the building. But that door only stays locked as long as power is flowing. And in contract law, that power is called consideration or mutual obligation.
Oh, like I do this, you do that.
Exactly. You provide the labor, I provide the agreed-upon compensation. Performance bonuses at Natalie's level aren't usually just discretionary gifts.
Right, they're part of her pay structure.
They are earned compensation tied to specific, measurable quarterly metrics, which the sources confirm Natalie had clearly hit.
So they owed her that money.
By capriciously withholding compensation that Natalie had already objectively earned just to fund an ego project, Carter Maritime committed what is known as a primary breach of contract.
Wow.
They essentially blew the main fuse. When the power died, the lock on the non-compete door deactivated. Natalie didn't break the door down, Emily turned off the power.
That is incredible.
The moment they breached their financial obligation, the non-compete legally vaporized.
So it's a completely self-inflicted wound. Natalie realizes this immediately. She packs her bag, walks out of the office, and makes a phone call to Victoria Hayes, who is the CEO of Harbor Point Logistics.
Their biggest competitor.
Yes. Victoria had been trying to poach Natalie for years, but Natalie always declined out of this, misplaced sense of loyalty to Richard.
Right.
With that loyalty broken, they meet for dinner. Within hours, Victoria offers her a senior executive partnership, a real ownership stake, total authority over global operations, and double her salary.
See, Victoria actually recognizes the structural weight Natalie carries. She doesn't view her as a dependable piece of machinery to hide under the hood.
No.
She recognizes her as an architect who can actually steer the ship.
The next morning, Natalie meets with a top employment attorney who reviews the documents and confirms the mechanics we just discussed.
The blown fuse.
Yes, the primary breach killed the non-compete, and the routing software is entirely her personal intellectual property.
Sure.
So on Sunday night, Natalie logs into her private cloud server from home.
And here is where she is so smart.
She doesn't hack into Carter Maritime. She doesn't delete any company files or wipe their hard drives.
Right.
She simply ends the free software license she had been generously allowing them to use.
Amazing.
She writes a very polite resignation email citing their breach of contract regarding her compensation, hits send, and turns off my phone.
The precision of her strategy here is just essential for anyone listening. Notice how meticulously she manages her liability. She absolutely does not sabotage the company.
No destruction of property.
Right, because sabotage would expose her to criminal charges or civil lawsuits. She simply removes her uncompensated labor and revokes their unauthorized access to her personal property.
She just packed up her toys and goes home.
She merely takes back what belongs to her.
And then Monday morning arrives, 9 a.m.,
Oh boy.
the exact minute the software license expires.
The cascade failure is instantaneous.
It is an absolute operational apocalypse.
Yeah.
The advanced routing platform goes dark. Across the globe, shipment dashboards freeze. Automated scheduling algorithms just vanish.
Pandemonium.
Total. Employees are suddenly forced to revert to outdated, manual spreadsheet systems they haven't used in years and barely understand.
I can't even imagine the panic in that office.
The entire logistics network grinds to a halt. And then, exactly as Natalie predicted, Emily's bold shipping decision plays out.
The pharmaceuticals.
Yes. The pharmaceutical shipment gets trapped in the congested port. The refrigeration systems fail due to the delay. Millions of dollars in life-saving medicine are destroyed.
And when the furious executives from that massive client call Carter Maritime to demand answers, to try and mitigate the disaster, they find out Natalie is gone.
Oops.
They don't want to talk to Emily or her executive branding team. They look at their contracts, they invoke the key personnel clause, and they immediately terminate their partnership.
And the other two major clients follow suit within hours. Because, again, they didn't trust the Carter Maritime brand. They trusted the person actually doing the work.
Right.
In a single afternoon, 75% of the company's revenue evaporates.
This is the ultimate real-world manifestation of the difference between holding a title and providing actual value.
Yeah, a title isn't a magic wand.
Emily possessed the title, she had the office, she had the branding team. But Natalie possessed the trust of the clients and the technical infrastructure holding the company together. When you remove the actual value, the title is meaningless.
So true. So around lunchtime, Natalie's phone rings. It's Richard.
Yeah.
And he is screaming.
I bet.
He's accusing her of corporate espionage, threatening massive lawsuits, and demanding she turn the software back on immediately.
A total meltdown.
But Natalie is sitting comfortably in her new office alongside her new CEO, Victoria, and her attorney. She just puts Richard on speakerphone.
A brilliant tactical move. You just let the legal counsel handle the emotional, panicking executive.
Exactly. The attorney calmly informs Richard of the harsh legal reality. You breached the contract first by withholding her earned bonus, nullifying the non-compete. The software is her documented private property. And if your IT department attempts to copy, reverse engineer, or bypass it, you will be facing federal intellectual property violations.
The silence on the other end of that phone must have been profound.
The source material notes it lasted for several long, painful seconds.
Wow.
And when Richard finally speaks, all the arrogance is completely gone. He starts apologizing profusely. He starts begging.
Of course he does.
He offers her the senior VP position, massive equity in the company, a huge signing bonus.
Too little, too late.
Way too late. You can literally hear Emily in the background crying, begging Natalie to save the company because the board is already threatening to oust her.
It's a total reversal of leverage. I mean, mere days earlier, they expected her to be grateful for the opportunity to process flower invoices.
Right.
Now they're offering her the world to save them from the consequences of their own incompetence.
But Natalie gives the ultimate mic drop response. She simply reminds Richard of his own framing.
Oh, this is so good.
She says, "You once told me engines belong beneath the hood where nobody could see them."
Yes.
And then she adds, "Without the engine, even the most beautiful vehicle cannot move an inch." She wishes them luck and hangs up the phone.
The satisfying symmetry of this outcome is incredible. But the core lesson here is that Natalie didn't break Carter Maritime Solutions.
No.
The company destroyed itself. Leadership was so arrogant, so totally disconnected from their own operations, that they failed to understand the actual mechanics of their own success.
He just assumed it would run itself.
They assumed an employee's loyalty was a given, regardless of how terribly they treated the person providing it.
Which brings us to the aftermath. 6 months later, Carter Maritime Solutions files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
Gone.
Richard is forced to liquidate personal assets trying to save it,
Yeah.
but it's too late. Emily completely disappears from the corporate logistics world. Meanwhile, Harbor Point Logistics is thriving.
Because they have Natalie.
All the major clients followed Natalie to her new firm, and she is finally in an environment where she's respected, compensated fairly, and recognized as an industry leader. So what does this all mean?
It means that loyalty is a mutual obligation. It is meaningful only when it is returned with tangible respect and equity.
Absolutely.
The moment you start sacrificing your health, your family, or your future for a leadership team that views you as just a dependable engine, you are actively participating in your own devaluation.
That's a powerful way to put it.
When you truly understand the structural weight you carry in an organization, you stop asking for permission to be valued, and you start demanding what you have actually earned.
Because a fancy executive branding team cannot fix a fundamentally broken supply chain, and an unearned title cannot replace a decade of hard-fought experience.
Amen to that.
I want to leave you with a thought as you go about your day. We've spent this entire deep dive dissecting the failures of Carter Maritime and analyzing how an undervalued employee can leverage their worth. But let's flip the mirror for a second.
Yeah, look at the other side.
Think about your own role. If you are a leader, a manager, or a business owner right now, do you actually know who holds the structural weight in your own team?
That's the real question.
If your quietest, most dependable employee walked out the door tomorrow, would your system survive? Or are you operating with massive blind spots you can't even see?